Or that whole piece. right, good evening and welcome. This is a public meeting of the School Board of the West Bend Joint School District Number 1. More than 24 hours prior to the meeting, notice of the time, place, date, and subject matter of this meeting was posted in each school building, the entrance doors at the Education Service Center, and at the West Bend Community Memorial Library. A copy was also sent to the Daily News, WBKV, Milwaukee Journal Sentinel, and other media sources that have requested notice of our meetings. So at this time, I'd like us to begin by honoring our country and our flag with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, I would take a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes. And then we have our student reports. So Brianna Carl and Paige Cooper.
Good afternoon. I would just like to first congratulate both of our school's athletic programs for all the success they are doing in their spring season so far. For track, the indoor state meet was this past weekend, and both teams, boys and girls, did great. The West girls 4x4 and 4x2 each placed second at the meet, which was a huge accomplishment for the West girls track program. Unfortunately, due to weather, most of the other sports have been canceled this past week, so this week is kind of their get-up week, so the boys golf for East and West have their first meets this weekend. Aside from our athletics, our clubs are also doing great. From the two schools, a total of 5 students placed at the state forensics meet this past weekend. West NHS hosted an Alice in Wonderland tea party this Saturday, and it was a great turnout, and everyone who came had a great time. Half of the proceeds go back to the elementary school for individual needs that can go back to the kids in case they need like clothing or, I guess, any other needs. The Dolphins in Love show for the Dolphins Synchronized Swimming is this weekend with shows on Thursday through Saturday. They would really love your support. And lastly, the second annual 18 through 21 group annual Autism Awareness Soup Night is on April 23rd in the West Cafeteria. Please consider going to join for that awesome awareness night. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. So on Saturday the 14th, the East Forensic will be having another tournament, and we hope really good things for turnouts. This past weekend, the State Forensics Tournament had a great turnout. Award winners include Justin Scherzer, Ian O'Day, and state champion Emily Kolb from East. Also, East placed for 8th in Division 2 teams. Saga is hosting a Royal Ball, a dance fit for royalty, on April 14th in the South Gym from 8 to 11. There's going to be pizza, sweets, dancing, and some really good music. And you can buy your tickets at the bookkeeper for $8 and $10 at the door. So we hope you show up. Also, congratulations to the trap team. On Wednesday, varsity took 226 out of 250. JV took 208 out of 250. Both teams won against Ozaki. And varsity tied for first place. It was Kaya Hayfert and Jake Thomas for 47 out of 50. Scotland, I took the trip over spring break with the orchestra, and it was absolutely amazing, and the culture was so rich and so enjoyable, and I got to make so many new friends over the trip. And if any of you get the chance to travel out of the country with your class, it is such a good opportunity to take, and I wish all of you take it. Our concerts went super good, so if you want to give them a look, you can go ahead to the West Bend High School Orchestra Facebook page. Thank you so much. Have a good night, guys.
Thank you, Paige and Brianna, and congratulations to all the students, forensics, athletics, the Scotland trip, the band. You bring so much pride to our community, and we're just super proud of you. Laura Jackson is our assistant superintendent who typically provides the report. Her daughter is a senior at Oshkosh, and a year ago she committed to attending a end-of-year field trip. So we're happy for Laura, and we're grateful to have Dave Hamelman, our Director of Human Resources, here to share with us this evening.
Thank you very much. I am not Laura Jackson. Okay? I also am not Monty Schmigi or Tim Schmelmont. Okay? But we, as from an administration, I know Tiffany's going to be perhaps talking to you two as well tonight, but from administration, we wanted to add our thank you to both of you for the work you've provided to this district over the years. We need that direction and that type of the the attributes you've provided to us have been very helpful, and we appreciate it very much, and thank you very much for your service to us. Thank you very much. I have some good news. A little bit was talked about already. Brianna mentioned a couple of things, but I will get to that. But we do have 2 people from the school that have won Herb Cole Awards, and this is just great because they are not, as you know, given out very often or given out very easily. First is from West High School, senior Olivia McLean, and there's another girl from the East High School, which we'll get to in just a minute. Another thing which sometimes you don't always hear about, though, is, and from the music standpoint, is a state honors choir. And this is very hard to get into, and you have to do a lot of auditioning and a lot of work to get into that. But a sophomore by the name of Samantha Hall has made that this year. And we have 2 teachers that we're going to mention tonight as well. Nicole DiBernardano, is going to a National Endowment for the Humanities at Amherst College this summer in Massachusetts, and it's going to be a great. It was a great honor that she's elected or opportunity to serve that place. At East High School, Maggie, is it Sirax? How am I pronouncing it? Thank you, Sirax. Thank you. Who was the other person to win, to be awarded, I should say, the Herb Cole Scholarship? And Scott Lone is the other teacher I wanted to mention tonight. He's accepted at the United States Holocaust Memorial, and they have a very interesting fellowship program there this summer that he's been accepted to as well. So we're proud of both of those teachers. Just upcoming events. There's something on April 12th, 13th, and 14th. It says Dolphins up there. I'm not sure. Does anyone here know what that is? I thought perhaps so. We're excited about that. There's an athletics night for all incoming freshmen, and there's a spring band concert. This is it's a collaborative event, and in addition to use art and music and food and writing, it's a very interesting event as well. McLean, we had one idea we wanted to mention from McLean, because it's through the Sharp Zillig Foundation. They are able to bring in this group from the Florentine Opera. They'll be coming this week, or next week, excuse me. And Brianna mentioned forensics. This is one level below, though. At Silverbrook, 41 of the 47 kids in our forensics team qualified for state, which is really just awesome. And then as you can see there, 3 people in group improv, and 1 in poetry earned second-place trophies, and 1 in storytelling earned third-place trophies. And those are very good. I mean, there's a lot of competition when you get to the state tournaments, as you all know. Elementary schools, a couple of the elementary schools came together and had a field trip to the high school, interestingly enough, to visit the tech ed department. And here they learned about all those different areas, things that they can look forward to doing when they get into high school or even beyond. And all the schools are collaborating. This is second year in a row that they're all collaborating on a production at the Silver Lining Arts Center. Some of you who were at the event a couple of weeks ago over at Badger heard about this, where we are partnering with the police department, local police department, a new tip line that is available to anybody, not just students, but anybody within the city. But you can also text now, which is something new. It's the Keep Our Schools Safe. And it's a new opportunity, a new partnership that we have with them now. Lastly, I always wanted to comment, at least during this time of year, I'm going to talk about the superintendent search. Talked with the search firm on Friday. As of last Friday, they had 22 applications. Some they feel terrific about, some not so terrific about, of course. But I was happy to hear them talking about it in that manner. We were going to continue the process. We're right on schedule as we have planned, and we're going to be talking a little bit more later tonight about the board schedule actually in May as far as interviewing and that type of thing. District Business Officer, you're going to see more about young lady behind me in just a couple of minutes, but we have finished that, and we're very happy to have that complete. But we'll talk about that after your consent agenda in just a minute. And I just wanted one last thing. In the couple of months I've been here, we've been focusing in HR on some method improvements, and at least to date, we've identified 4 areas that we are going to try, and we are in the process of changing. None of them have been implemented yet, but we're in the process of making these changes. And they're all method improvements. The first one is pre-employment physicals, to actually have them done here in the building rather than going out to an outside contractor. hourly employment timekeeping is fairly not user-friendly, I guess I would say it that way. And there's some opportunities both for the employees clocking in and out, and for supervisors making the approvals and that type of thing, to make a change so we don't have to necessarily upload everything into Skyward, which is our payroll system. And by putting it all in one system, it'll be much easier and it'll be much more user-friendly for people. Also, we're looking at possible change to our hourly employee management evaluations. This is the system that all of our supervisors and hourly employees have to use in making sure they are actually receiving credible valuations each year. And again, we have an opportunity to make it a lot less time-consuming and make it, I mean, our supervisors especially have plenty of work to do as it is, and so we're trying to make this a little more user-friendly. And then the last thing is we are going to what's called, or we anticipate going to what's called a common remitter. Currently we have about 12 to 14 different companies that are tax sheltered annuities or 403B plans where employees can elect to go to. We may bring that down a few and then entice one of those companies to serve as the common remitter of the dollars to all of the companies. We believe that instead of having an outside third party do that, we're going to have one of the companies have already indicated an interest to us in doing that as included in the cost. So we won't have to outside that. And these are all identified as method improvements, and that's the real focus. But when we are done with all 4 of those, we will be experiencing an annual cost savings of about $85,000 to $90,000 a year, making that change. And that's all I have. Anything else? Any questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dave, for that report. A lot of exciting things happen. I know we've just got back from spring break. At this point in the year, sometimes it's easy to see the finish line and just start to coast, but I'm always reminded, in September, our cross-country coach, Coach Kramer, told his boys who were in training, you get out of those starting blocks really quick. You go as hard as you can, as fast as you can, and then you find a pace that you can maintain. And we maintain that pace till about April. But when you see that finish line, you don't coast, you don't let up. You work hard and you try to pass the people in front of you and really finish strong. And I feel like academically, whether it's from the school board perspective, from all the details that Dave shares with us ongoing within our administration, student perspective, I just encourage you all to really finish this school year strong. You've done a great job and the finish line is in sight. And speaking of the finish line, 2 of our board members are basically outgoing board members now, Mr. Monty Schmigi and Mr. Tim Stallmacher. They have served us well over the past few years. I want to share a few specific mentions. Monty Schmigi has made school board a priority over the past 3 years, as demonstrated by his excellent attendance, his punctuality, as well as his organization. He routinely attended workshops and conferences to increase his knowledge, and also readily reached out to experts in the field to better perform his role as school board member. He has served as HR finance chair as well as policy chair. He encouraged the investment in the policy resource guide to streamline the additions and revisions of our policies. He has dedicated extensive time this year to updating the 100 series of board operations. He has boldly presented the past 2 years at the Silver Lining Arts Center the budget report at the annual meeting. To do this in a manner that was understandable by the community at large, he has had to work very closely with the business office. Many thanks to Mr. Schmigi for his outstanding support of our public schools. In addition, Tim Stallmacher embodies naturally so many of the characteristics that we as board members seek to demonstrate. He is calm, never complains of the time commitment, practical, and with the financial acumen and vision that contributes to a district's long-term success. Certainly his background in school district finance, 30 years in worldwide private enterprise, as well as in a former life, he was a German teacher for 8 years, contributed to his selection as a board member to fill a seat vacated by resignation last year. Tim did many things to ensure healthy financial practices, but he also did something within his term that I believe every board member, myself included, should attempt within their tenure. He went to our capital, to Madison, and he advocated for the benefit of our children and public education. He waited for 8 hours in the Capitol to testify to Act 141, the low revenue ceiling sparsity aid. This bill passed with 100% bipartisan support, and as a result, districts like West Bend, who have had a low ceiling cap due to frugal spending practices, find these low ceilings now raised from $9,100 to $9,400, and by 2023, the ceiling will be increased to $9,800 per pupil. Tim Stallmacher has served as a financial tutor to our board, frequently advocating the benefits of lean enterprise. He cares about relationships and has developed strong trust within our district and within our administration. He will be missed, but we have his number. Thank you, Tom. Go ahead, Ken.
If I may, I'd like to add a few more comments in regard to thank you to Mr. Schmiege as well as Mr. Stellmacher. I don't mean to, I guess, repeat everything, but there's a few things that may be the case. I want to thank Mr. Schmiege for his 3 years of excellent service on the board. Monty was very interested and contributed many well-founded ideas to our district. As was said, he was treasurer for 2 years and also policy chairman for the past year. He contributed on a number of other committees. He gave up many days of his own personal life. I think he may have remembered, him saying something like he had some 20-hour weekends of school board work every now and then. So he did his homework, his research, well prepared for every meeting, followed up on the things that were asked of him. He was consistent, operated with integrity, urgency, and he made our school district a better district in many ways, along with his, including his oversight in regard to the curriculum. I thank Monty for his fine service. He acted with honesty, courtesy, respect, humility, fact, and research-based decision-making. I'll miss his collegiality on the board and his ability to think outside the status quo box. Monty, you and your family have my very best wishes and everything that you do in the future. Thank you again for your service. And Mr. Stellmacher, I appreciated having you on the board with us. Appreciated especially your financial acumen. I still have to say, I'm going to need some more education. I hope you'll give us more of your expertise in the future. So again, I wish you well too in your future endeavors. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. Thank you, gentlemen. All right, on March 22nd, as Dave Hamelman shared, we had a community forum that was presented by Laura Jackson, as well as in collaboration with Chief Ken Moyler and Captain Tim Deering. And this topic was a conversation around school violence, prevention, and some of the general goals were to identify that we all have a role in school safety. It's not simply the work of the school board, administration, police department. As a community, we must be vigilant and see something, say something. And that conversation led to the development of this new tip line. It will be placed among all the various campuses and schools. Certainly we encourage students to use it appropriately. Chief Moyler discussed the idea of situational awareness, not just on school campus, but whether you're at the library, the grocery store, the malls. It's the times that we live in. He encouraged parents to discuss with their children social media statements or conduct that might be viewed as threatening. The police department does take all these threats seriously, and they will show up at your door any hour of the night to initiate an investigation, which might include searching phones, computers, social media. They often partner with other agencies. At a minimum, a person in violation of this may receive a disorderly conduct, but also in some cases, these behaviors do result in a felony charge. The state has also been very active in allocating money and resources to improve school safety. There are new security grants available. Laura Jackson and Dave Ross, our Director of Facilities and Safety, are currently working on applying for some of these grants. Act 143 of the recent legislative meeting session put into practice this $100 million devoted, dedicated towards improving school security. I also, because it's not just a local issue, it's a statewide issue, based on this community forum, I did reach out to Senator Dewey Strobel as well as our Representative Rick Gundrum of District 57 to invite them to attend the meeting. We had, it wasn't as many people as we would like at the meeting, and Rick Gundrum kindly responded to my email. We had some great exchanges just about the fact that we have to address to the root cause of violence, and a lot of this goes back to mental health issues, perhaps discipline, suicide prevention, and within our community we have a lot of great resources that in the future I hope we can collaborate with some of these professionals to address some of these issues too that are really all part of our social well-being. So overall, I look forward. I expect there'll be future community conversations on a variety of topics, but this one, I commend the police department. Many of their police officers were present. Many of them have students in school. They care very deeply about the safety of our kids. So it's a community-wide effort. Please utilize the tip line, and they'll be placed more frequently within our schools in the days ahead. At this time, Ken is going to address one of our district core values.
Core value that I intend to address tonight or highlight is the value of integrity. That core value was adopted as part of the West Bend School District's core values about a year and a half ago. That was part of our district's strategic plan. And it is defined as follows. We are open, honest, and trustworthy. We do the right thing even when no one is looking. We conduct ourselves in accordance with the highest standards of professional behavior and ethics. What does integrity mean? It means, first of all, that we follow those highest standards of behavior, and also we respect each other, even when we may disagree. It involves honesty, which means transparency with all the information that we want to share with each other about the district's programs and procedures and finances, whether that information may be positive or may be even negative. It also involves trustworthiness. That means follow-through on commitments, being accurate with information, and adhering to the policies of our district as well as the laws that apply to our district operations. Truly, if we don't have integrity as a school district, what else matters? There are a number of other districts who have that same core value, just to name a few. The Manitowoc School District, Chilton, Appleton, and Kimberly area school districts. Integrity is a very important value. It really is kind of a basis for many of the other values that we have. It's important for us to follow and hold to as we conduct our work as a school district. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. That is worthy of applause. Well said. All right, we've come to the public participation segment of our meeting. I'm going to read for you our Board Policy 187 prescribes the nature and procedures for this segment. I will summarize it at this time, but copies are available in the back of the room. Residents of the district, parents of children in district schools, and employees of the district may participate. Participants desiring to address the board should obtain and complete a participant comment card near the entry and turn it over to the president prior to the meeting. Participants may comment concerning an agenda item or a non-agenda item. Each participant will be called to the podium and given 3 minutes to speak. The participant must state his/her name, address, and relation to the district. This information will appear in the minutes of the meeting. The board will not engage in debate concerning the remarks or take immediate action. The board may refer the matter to the superintendent, a committee, or take the remarks into consideration in future action. Board Policy 872 provides a formal process for citizen complaints, and number 520 provides a formal process for employee complaints. The board recommends use of these procedures as they guarantee a fair and timely response. So at this time, I'd like to invite Mary Wigan forward. I also want to get my stopwatch. All right, thanks, Mary.
My name is Mary Wagand. I live at 5629 Colleen Lane, West Bend. I am a district resident. First of all, I want to thank you, Monty, for your integrity, your wisdom, your thoughtful research. It's going to be missed by the community of West Bend. I've witnessed 5-2 votes here, where Monty was one of 2 voting against the immoral and inappropriate questionnaire for minors that will be happening potentially this spring. I know it's very difficult to accomplish things in the humanistic, government-run education system, but Monty, you've fought and you've persevered, and you've spent 3 years of your life caring about the education of our kids, and I really thank you for that. Then I also wanted to talk about a big concern I have about, I had contacted Laura Jackson back in March about there was no video recording of a public meeting. She told me that there would be no video in accordance with FERPA, the Federal Education Rights and Privacy Act, and it was apparently violated, and I'm very concerned about that. In an open public meeting where one of our students the information was publicly brought up. So she refused to post the video, even though she could have edited it. I'm concerned about the lack of transparency in our district. Meetings are not being taped and posted for public viewing. The 2 that I can think of in the most recent past are the meeting with the construction manager for a potential referendum coming up, and also the superintendent search, 2 really big important meetings. And the videos were not posted. Also the new media guidelines that you guys have just recently worked on in March also, they are unconstitutional and unenforceable. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And now at this time, will Olympia Wondruk and Amy Giron, and I apologize if I said the name incorrectly. Introduce yourselves, your address, your relation to the district, and proceed.
Hi, I'm Olympia Wondrak, president of West Bend High School Dolphins. My address is 1007 Hazelwood Court, 53095, West Bend.
Amy Geenan, 1511 Primrose Lane, West Bend, Wisconsin, 53090. I'm the vice president of Dolphins Synchronized Swim Team, and we are both seniors at West Bend West High School. We would like to talk about some issues that have come up with us, our club not being able to turn off the lights during our show this season. I'd like to start off by saying this is our 55th show we are going to be putting on at the high school through Dolphins, which is very exciting for us. It's been an amazing club, and this year our numbers have grown so much. We went from a team of about 30 girls and 5 boys to a team of 50 girls, 11 boys, and altogether, including MCs and lighting crew, we have over 70 students involved in this club, which makes it one of the most involved athletics at our high school, which is an awesome thing. The way our shows are run is very similar to how a dance recital or a different performance are. We have performers in and out of the water, doing their thing, performing the songs, and one thing that really helps to enhance the performance is the use of lights, and they really help to add the magic to it and add to the theme as well, so we think that's a really important part to our show.
This year, unfortunately, we were informed on just Friday that we would not be getting our lights out, and this is a big concern for us because the lights are very important. Some of our routines are choreographed to have certain spotlights on at different times, and we even have a black light routine which needs lights off so it can glow in the dark. And for us to not have the lights on, it sort of takes away the performance aspect of our show, and we believe that we should be able to have them off because within the past 44 years, there hasn't been an accident related to the lights off. We do keep the exit lights on at all times. We make an announcement making sure that people aren't walking around during the performance, and even when the spotlights aren't on the water, they glow back onto the bleachers, so it's never completely pitch dark. You can always see bodies in the bleachers, and also there's a window, so the light comes in through there. And we also just think it's very important because so many people come to support the Dolphins. We do sell out every year for at least 2 shows, so I think it's a very important part of our community, and we really want to keep the legacy going. And the lights are such an important part for us, and we do keep all the right safety precautions, and I know it is fully insured by the school and approved by the fire chief. So,
Yeah, and considering we were just told this information on Friday, it's very difficult for us to compromise the way our routines are performed without further notice so that we can really change them to make them as amazing as they should be. We know we have our whole team here to back us up. They surprised us and came here. We're all missing practice today right now so that we can be here and show our stance on this and how important this is to all of us. So we really encourage you all to reconsider this. Our show is already coming up this Thursday, so we're really hoping that this can be changed for the better of our team.
thank Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Olivia and Amy. And your concerns have been conveyed very clearly to Dave Hamelman, and we'll make sure that the administration addresses this as a priority first thing tomorrow, which is when Laura gets back. So best wishes to you all. Thanks for all your hard work, and we'll be in touch. Okay.
Sorry, just to add, considering we have 70 students here, I want to make sure this is really going to be handled right away tomorrow morning, Dave, so I'm sure that you're going to assure our students and us that this will be on the agenda for tomorrow morning. Thank you very much.
All right. I thought they wanted to stay for the meeting. Here, I thought they were just here for a board meeting. Room clears out.
Have a good night. Good practice. Get out of here.
All right, we will continue with our meeting, and at this time, we have Tani Schmidt and the clerk's report, the Canvas report from April 3rd, spring election.
The Board of Canvassers met on Thursday, April 5th, to canvass the votes from the spring 2018 election. The total number of votes cast for the School Board of West Bend Joint District Number 1 was 18,162, of which Christopher Zweigart received 5,509 votes, Kurt Rebholz received 5,144 votes, Mary Weigand received 4,296 votes, and Monty Schmiege received 3,213 votes. Christopher Zweigart and Kurt Rebholz were each elected to 3-year terms expiring April of 2021.
Thank you. Thank you to Chris and Kurt for your willingness to serve, and the oath of office will be given April 23rd, so at the next board meeting. At this time, we'll move on to the consent agenda. I would take a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Any discussion, questions? Otherwise, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes. And then we have Dave Hamelman, special introduction this evening.
Thank you. When we were looking for a new head of our finance organization here, it was very clear to me that, that obviously we had to find someone with a very strong financial background and who could bring that kind of strength and stability to us in finance. But also the stability piece was very clearly made to me when I got here, that we need someone who can be someone to really get an interest in the district and in the community. And so when we were looking, one of the things that drew us to this young lady here is the fact that she lives in West Bend and is interested in staying here and not just using this as something to do for a year or two and then go on to a bigger district or something like that. So I'm very happy to introduce Karen to you all. I know you all have met her already. She has a very good background. It's in the corporate world. She spent a few years where I did at PepsiCo, and then at Johnson Controls, and then Grande Cheese. But like I said, she's a West Bender, and we're very happy to have her join us. A master's degree and bachelor's and master's degree, master's studies at Michigan State. Unfortunately, it's Michigan State, but that's okay. So at least it's a Big Ten. At least it's a Big Ten school. But I would just like to allow Karen to introduce herself, and we're very glad to have her here.
So again, I'm Karen Herman. I just want to thank you for this opportunity. I'm very excited, actually. Like David said, I've been in the corporate world forever. I won't say how many years, but it feels good to be able to now put those skills and knowledge to work for my community. We've lived here, our kids have grown up here. We plan to live here till we retire and die, which will be long, long, long way down the road. But so it's very exciting to be able to do that and actually go to work and feel good about what you're doing and how you're helping the community. So just want to thank you for the opportunity, and I'm looking forward to next Monday.
I was
Yes, yep, next Monday, a week from today.
Week from Monday, week today,
Yep.
Monday morning, bright and early,
Mhm.
8 o'clock Monday morning.
Yep.
And yep, and I,
Well, it's nice and close, 5:30 is fine.
Yeah, okay. One thing, in full transparency, I meant to say, yes, she does live in West Bend, but she, out west of the interstate, is that little half an acre or whatever that if you live there, your kids go to Slinger? So, just in full transparency, okay, I want.
Well, you know, it was
Yeah.
going well until that point.
Yes, but there's a real small portion, I guess, I don't know what it is, but why, but it's West Bend address.
Yeah,
but-
yeah,
so-
we're in
so
one of
it's-
those areas that we're a mix, you know?
Thank you very
We
much.
live in the town, we have different phone number, different, so.
Yeah,
Thank
welcome,
you.
Karen. Look forward to working with you. All right, and then Sharon Kalis from Pupil Services has a number of action items regarding Head Start this evening.
Okay, everybody ready? All right, I am starting with the refunding application. Every year we need to apply for a grant. We are at the cycle of our new 5-year grant, which will start July 1st. So the information that I provided to you was pretty lengthy, and I also provided a brief version for your review. But basically, our Head Start grant is with $1,173,416. 80% of that really goes to staff salaries. The other 20% is for upkeep, some of our utilities and supplies. 20% of the costs spent are also provided by our state grant, which is separate, and that comes at a different time during the year for application. So Head Start gives you this packet of information that you have to answer all the questions. So the report is rather lengthy, but it allows us an opportunity to set our goals and then set our budget for the next school year. So are there any general questions about the refunding application?
How many years, Sharon, has Head Start been part of our district?
35 years. And remember, we are one of 5 grantees across the state where the Head Start program is embedded in the school district. The rest of the programs, there's 1 per county in the state. The rest of the programs are standalone organizations.
I move to approve the 2018-29 Head Start narrative application.
Second.
All in favor, or any further questions for Sharon? Okay. Otherwise, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion passes.
All right, next.
Yeah, next.
Given that, we also have to develop our goals in training and technical assistance. So in the document where the goals are listed, we have program goals and we have readiness goals, and those align to the performance objectives for Head Start, which refer to academics, program management, and financial obligations. So we work with our training and technical assistant person who's provided through Head Start and set our goals and our action steps, and then the training that goes along with that is also planned out for the year. So the document you're provided will be reviewed after every data review, which is Head Start is on trimesters. So after every trimester, we review the student data and update or review the goals that you see along with the action steps. And the TTA, which is the training, is highlighted in yellow and embedded in each of the goals. So this is similar to what we do at the schools. It's just a different format for Head Start. Any questions on that?
I just have a general question. It's not really about this, but when you're reviewing the students or looking at their progress, is that kind of a one-on-one with a teacher then? And then do you sit down with the parents, or how do you?
No, they do. Well, they do that separately. But when we look at our data dig, it's similar to what our schools do. The data it's harder though because we're working with 3, 4, and 5-year-olds, and we certainly don't have a lot of assessments, formal assessments. So the teachers do a lot of formative feedback and doing checks for learning the alphabet or learning their numbers, those type of things. So it's more teacher-made materials.
I move to approve the 2018-19 Head Start Goals and Training and Technical Assistance Plan.
Second.
Any other questions for Sharon? Right. Otherwise, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion passes. We'll move on to the next one.
The next one has to do with Head Start eligibility. The first priority for our children is that their families are at economic disadvantage. And then there are other eligibility requirements that we're allowed to create ourselves. So the Head Start Teachers and Policy Council have used this criteria for the last probably 4 to 5 years. And that's the determination of who has first choice for Head Start. We are allowed to have students who are over income, so once our slots are filled with children who meet the eligibility, we can fill that with over income children and also children who have an IEP. And I'm proud to say we are at full enrollment, which has been a struggle for a while, and Matt Durand, who is our new Head Start coordinator, has come up with some creative ideas, so we are at full enrollment of 121 students.
That's awesome.
Any question about the eligibility criteria?
This isn't really eligibility criteria,
Sure.
but just for community understanding. Can you explain Matt Durant's role a bit within Head Start?
Sure. I am the Head Start director. I'm also the director of pupil services, which encumbers a lot of different things that we do for the district. And I have coordinators who assist me, whether it be special education or Head Start. So Matt is available every day for the staff and for the teachers. So he's often over at Head Start, which is across the street. And he's on site during the day, functioning more as a leader within the building in case the children, families, or teachers need him on a regular basis. So he spends most of his time over there.
Yeah, you're a fantastic organization and how you all play kind of with your strengths. And
Yep.
Matt worked at Silverbrook for a number of years, or I'm sorry, at Fair Park.
Yes, he was.
So good to
And
have
that
him
also
as
came
part of
about,
Head Start.
Sherry Bain was in that position, and when we started our Hartford program, she transferred there, so there was an opening for Matt to apply for.
Great.
Any questions about eligibility?
I move to, go ahead, Monty.
I move to approve the eligibility for Head Start criteria.
Second.
Any further questions for Sharon? All right, in that case, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion passes.
All right, one more, is the Head Start cost allocation plan. This document is new this year for Head Start, and the purpose of that is to make sure that the federal funds are used specifically for Head Start. We are at the advantage that we have a 3-tiered system for approving our finances. That includes our Director of Finance. That includes Christine Ringel, who is our grant coordinator, and myself. We also have within our budget, we have separate location codes for Head Start, so those are the only funds that are allocated. Then we look at positions such as mine, where I'm paid through different grants. So what we do for that is really, I use a color coding system in my calendar. So I can account for the time that is spent with Head Start, given that it is 25% of my salary. So you have to develop a local system for identifying and making sure that the money spent for Head Start is directly to that program. So that is our cost allocation plan. Any questions about that?
I move to approve the 2018-19 Head Start cost allocation process.
Second.
Any further questions? Otherwise, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you, Sharon.
We'll be
It's a lot of work.
Back next month with more.
We'll look
Thanks,
forward to seeing you. All right, and then Tim Harder, the District 5-Year Technology Plan. We have an action item tonight.
All right, good evening, everybody. Sharon, thank you for being here so I didn't have to talk about Head Start tonight and figure that out, because last time Nancy had a lot of questions for me about Head Start, and I was really worried, so.
Oh, I was just trying to trip you up.
I know, it's all right. So I'll have a couple slides up here, but to give you a little bit of background, 2 years ago, as part of board policy, we were asked to put together a rolling 5-year technology plan for a variety of reasons. One, first to guide how we use technology in the district, and we really break it into both the operational side and the instructional side. And there isn't a department or an avenue that we don't hit with technology in the district. The other part truly was fiscal, to align with our current strategic plan of being effective and efficient, and know where we're spending our money, and being able to cost out what replacements will be out there at certain times. So we weren't stacking multiple replacements in the same budget year at that point. So the plan you have before us has been through our committee 2 different times, looking at a variety of different pieces. The components of the plan in the different 20-some pages talk about our philosophy of technology, our history of different updates and implementations that we have done over the last couple of years, the department overview to give you an idea of the operational and the instructional side of the department, our district network and infrastructure as we support a variety of different buildings across the district, our furthest obviously being Jackson Elementary down in Jackson. Our guiding philosophies as we talk about where we want to take the next reiteration of the plan. Action steps aligned to categories, and I'll talk about those categories. That's a change from our last plan. And then an inventory overview to give you an idea of what we have for the number of devices and so forth in the district. When we talk about updates to the current plan from the one 2 years ago, obviously the easiest changes is what we've done in the last 2 years. Over the last 2 years, we've been able to shift our costs into providing more devices for our end users, that being our students in the district, and moving to a mobile infrastructure. Instead of having to have wired computers, we've invested in our wireless infrastructure, making sure that we have the bandwidth to support the number of devices that we have, and so forth. The new plan utilizes a little bit of a new framework, and there's a national piece and a local piece here in Wisconsin. The national piece is what's called the Future Ready Framework, and what it is about making sure that we have all the different pieces here in the district aligned so that we are ready for future-ready learning. And that encompasses every single department within ESC and working down to our sites. And if you look in the diagram on the right side, this is the gears of what they call the Wisconsin Digital Learning Plan. The Future Ready Framework has multiple gears. Wisconsin took it and made the symbol on the right side here. And you notice in the middle it's about student learning. And no matter what we're doing in whatever aspect of technology that we're working on, from data and privacy to professional development to providing devices for end users, it's all about providing that learning opportunity for our students. The plan also supports increased use of technology to personalize learning and support digital access to our learning materials both at school and outside of the school day. And so that's how the plan is aligned. And the 5 gears or sections of the plan were broken down into instruction, learning, and assessment, technology and hardware, so that's our costing out portion. Laptop lasts so long, what does that look like when we need to replace it? Empowering innovative leadership, professional learning and building capacity, and last but not least, data privacy and cybersecurity. And so I could stand up here forever and talk about this, but I tried to take the biggest parts of this and talk about what our focus will be over the next couple of years, and they really sit in 2 gears. And the first gear is around gear 5, and it's data privacy and cybersecurity. When I moved over to district office 4.5 years ago, this wasn't the top of conversation in schools. It was not the topic of conversation, I think, in a lot of people's lives. When we talk about everything nowadays from cybersecurity and data privacy, it's an ongoing point to our home personal lives, and it's something that we value very much and take very seriously here in the district. So some of the different or highlighted bulleted points under Gear 5 of action steps. Number 1 is data privacy professional development, and that goes for all of our staff here in the district. Does not matter what employee group that you're in, but we will be developing a professional development and training piece for them. We'll be looking at our procurement processes, and when we bring on new digital systems, what it is that we are going to ask of our vendors, our own terms of service pieces. What are we going to look for in every single contract, and have a process that it flows through the technology department so that we can check off all of those different things and have that inventory. We'll continue to review and increase both cyber and physical security of our technology assets. So a simple example of the physical side of things is deploying, just like we have security cameras in the hallways, that's putting them in all of our places where we have our network infrastructure. With alerts that as soon as somebody walks in there, we get an email with a snapshot of who that person is. And then last but not least, continue to focus on that 24/7 secure uptime in business continuity planning. We may go to school from 8 to 4 every day here, but we have people accessing our systems 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Let that be for learning, let that be for operational pieces. And we talk about that business continuity planning. It's what happens if. No different if we worry about a tornado. It's what happens if we have a fire, if we lose these servers. How do we still make payroll the next day? How do we provide internet access to our students? How do they access those learning materials at home or the next school day? The other part is Gear 1, which is instruction, learning, and assessment. And so the first thing we'll be working on are the ISTE standards, which are International Society of Technology and Education Standards. Those are our board-adopted standards that we have here, along with our Wisconsin Information Technology Literacy Standards. And we want to embed them across K-12 at this point. Those standards used to be written as, by the time Tim got to 8th grade, he could create a PowerPoint. He would be able to use Microsoft Word. Now it's really around being a good digital citizenship. It's being a collaborator. It's working in an environment that is not local to West Bend or Wisconsin. It's being a global citizen. So we're going to embed those different learning experiences into pieces that we're already doing in the district. We are going to look at an implementation of a one-to-one program in grades 5 through 12. And it's a rolling implementation in that we can't fund as a district every single 5th through 12th grade kid at one time. We also don't have the capacity of the human capital side of it in the technology department to just influx that many devices. So it will roll in by grade level. And last but not least, our last area of device equity issue we have is in our kindergarten and first grade. We are looking at an aging number of iPads, where some buildings had enough for 10 for every kindergarten class or 5 for every kindergarten class. Other buildings had 2. And we used to allow the sites to make those decisions. Just like we did in grades 2, 3, and 4, we will have a device equity program, so no matter what building you are in the district, no matter what teacher you have or what principal, every single student is afforded the same opportunity to have access to technology. So those are the big overview pieces. I will open it up to questions without going into every single page of the plan, so I'll let it go from there.
Well, I have the unique opportunity that I sit on the technology committee, so I wanted to acknowledge the amount of work that you put into this plan and, the amount of time that you spend explaining it to us and answering our questions during the committee meeting. So thank you very much. It looks like a great plan to me. I like the fact that we're looking at kind of rolling technology as opposed to, oh my God, crisis for 1 year, as opposed to we're planning this out for years in the future. So I commend you and your team because I know you work with a lean team, and I think you do a great job.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
If I may, as chair of the committee, I also commend you for always working at cost reductions too. That is very important so that we can be efficient and effective in our use of the finances that we have to oversee. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And Ken, to be honest with you, the ownership goes on the staff that I have. That's them understanding the focus of this plan and our goal, trying to put more devices to our end users. And so we have a great staff that's looked at our network infrastructure and said, hey, we may have 12 of these at Badger, but we only need 11. And that's a $5,000 cost over in 8 years. What does that look like for us and so forth? And that's been an ongoing process, and we continuously build that in. And that's allowing us to do a lot of the things that you see in the plan without a huge increase in district dollars at that point.
And there's one other thing.
Yep. So, and that is something we will look at addressing as we look at bringing on the Chromebook pieces and so forth. There are some pieces working with some different staffing pieces along with hiring our own students through youth apprenticeship here that I'm excited to bring on. As many of you know, it's not just about serving our own district and the kids just with the devices. It's getting kids excited to go into IT. It is a huge field right now where there is a need for jobs. And so the fact that we're looking at a program where kids can leave the high school, come work for us with these credentials to go on to a Moraine Park or on to a Marquette or on to UW-Milwaukee, wherever, I think is a huge piece to us because it'll grow those opportunities for our kids here, and I'm excited about that opportunity also.
Can you also touch on, Tim, the fact that when we talk about the devices, one of the first concerns people have is the cost, like Ken mentioned. But also in the committee meeting, we talked about how expensive textbooks have become and how inexpensive these devices have become, and actually the cost to the district is actually going down for textbooks.
Yeah, as we
because
look
of this program.
Yep. And as we look at bringing on more technology, we have the ability to start to, if you want to call it that, negotiations with vendors and say, do we need the physical textbook? Do we not? When you have the device equity where every kid has it, the only issue we have to address is then internet access at home. And we have a wonderful program where our kids can check out those opportunities. So when you talk about cost savings, it is from looking at digital materials materials that are online and available, and they're current. We heard that from our teachers that came to the committee of, I buy a textbook, and in some of our disciplines, that changes over 6-7 years. Now I have access to those relevant resources that are up to date at that time. So it's a variety of those pieces that are going in to be able to make this shift, and we're excited to continue to work through that implementation with our technology coaches. So Kevin and Kale do a great job of working on finding those digital resources and then helping our teachers embed them into the classroom experience.
Unless there's more to be said, I would move to approve the district's 5-year technology plan.
I have something else I wanted to add. Sorry. I also wanted to point out something else I really appreciated about your presentation at the committee meeting was how the students don't just use the devices. There is concern about overuse of devices in our society now, and it's a valid concern. And the kids are taught to use this as just another tool in their toolbox, and they are able to make a selection from standard, more traditional things as well. So I really appreciated that.
And I think what we know from looking at other districts, and when you look at technology, it is a tool. It is not the end all to making learning perfect, or it is not the quick answer to anything or the expensive answer. It's a tool to access those things and provide our kids that voice and choice. We had a great opportunity to see the variety of projects or evidence of learning under one set of standards that varied across the 30 kids in the classroom. And I think that's what's really powerful is I went back and watched that committee meeting video, and over half of it wasn't about a device or technology. It was what the kids and what the teachers were able to do. And I think that's the powerful side of helping our kids prepare them for a future society that is that global collaboration and those other pieces.
It's almost a customized learning without IEPs. Thanks. Okay, Ken, go ahead.
So I move to approve the district's 5-year technology plan.
Second.
Any further questions or discussion for Tim? Otherwise, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Tim, Sharon Kalis, Dave Hammelman. I'm just so confident in our administration, and you share such expertise with us, so thank you for that. Speaking of Dave Hammelman, board meeting calendar. You ready for this? All right. Oh, wait, yeah, okay. I'm ready to.
There it is. All right. To make a change to the current schedule, the proposed schedule removes the board meeting from May 7th and moves it to 14th and the 21st. And the reason for that is that we do have a special board meeting still on the 7th, and that is going to review the first round of applications that we would like you to look at to hopefully have interviews scheduled for the following week. And then in June, we normally are the 11th and the 25th. We're proposing the 11th and the 18th because on the 25th is the foundation golf outing and also Laura Jackson vacation plans. So that's the recommendation. So the recommendation again is to go to then would be May 7th for the special meeting, May 14th and 21st, and then during that week, the 21st, we likely will have some final interviews, hopefully, and then June 11th and 18th.
Great.
I move to approve the changes in the regular board meeting dates for May and June to May 14th and 21st and June 11th and 18th, respectively, 2018.
Second.
Any further questions? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion passes. Our board meeting calendar is revised.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. So committee reports, prior to spring break, we had a couple of meetings. One was on March 19th. The meeting on the March 19th was a work session around the area of media training and communications. It was called to order around 8:15 p.m. Mary Roberts of Buzz Monkeys Communications Firm gave a presentation and training for the board on best practices and effective media relations and communications. After explaining the sheer amount of information shared every minute via many different sources and mediums, Mary Roberts provided background information on how education is generally covered by the media. She also offered details on how each area of media, newspapers, radio, TV, etc., covers education and school boards. The board reviewed with Mary the guiding principles of communication, including being honest, prepared, and proactive. The board and Ms. Roberts reviewed in detail the updated West Bend Joint School District Number 1 media guidelines, which are available in the communications section of our West Bend School District website, and then discussed their role as board members in working with media and communicating news of the board and the district to the public. And then we met March 23rd at 8 in the morning with Melissa and Brian, our consultants from the Mack and Jake Superintendent Search Firm. And within our meeting, we developed and reviewed the posting for this position. It reads, the candidate must have the background, skills, and abilities essential for excellence in educational leadership. And the board recognizes that selecting a superintendent is one of the most important decisions it will make. The board developed the following desired characteristics. Number 1, a visionary leader who has proven administrative and leadership experience. 2, visible within the school and community, demonstrating optimism, an outgoing personality, and excellent communication skills. A caring person who's sincere, authentic, and genuine. Number 3, a leader that demonstrates fiscal understanding in district budgeting, resources, construction, and maintenance of facilities. And 4, a team builder with strategic skills and knows how to build, develop, and maintain an organization. These two consultants also were highly complimentary of the Tuesday listening sessions that they had preceding this meeting, where they met with Chamber of Commerce, business leaders, students, teachers, staff, parents. And Brian, the consultant, said it was a reminder of how important it is that we give our students the credit they deserve and what great resources they are, and just the importance of listening to our students, really to provide guidance. Requests included from the Chamber a district that understands the need for experienced leadership. We are a very big district, and while they identified being decisive as important, they also recognize that this comes from effective input from a variety of people and not necessarily a top-down autocratic style. In addition, trust was frequently mentioned, being a trust builder, as well as a long-term commitment, visionary versus reactionary. And then finally, one of the top qualities identified, and I thought it was a great word and one that benefits all of us, is that of resilience. Resilience is just the characteristics, the ability to bounce back from either complicated situations or from competitive situations, working cooperatively with all parties, recognizing that as a community, we all essentially want the same thing, and that is a great education for our students. So that was our meeting on March 23rd, and we look forward to positive outcomes in the weeks ahead with our superintendent search. We'll move on to policy, and Monty.
The Policy Committee met this afternoon and considered a number of changes put forward by the administration, mostly in response to, some of these are in response to changes in legislation at the state level. The state legislature did away with 2 programs and then changed them and renamed them and restructured them. The 2 are course options and youth options. As a consequence, the board will be asked to delete policies 343.3 on course options and 343.42 on youth options effective the end of June. This will be coming up at a future board meeting. There's also a new policy then, 343.45 on Start College Now, which is one of the restructured programs. It involves the ability of students to take courses at technical colleges while in high school. Another policy, 343.46, early college credit, is a restructuring, and it allows students to take courses at four-year colleges. They've done this under the previous programs, but as I said, they were restructured. And these became effective. Students actually had to apply for these already at the 1st of March. So we're doing a little catch-up here on some recent changes. There's also policy 343.44, part-time open enrollment. This is where students in high school can go to a different district to take courses on a part-time basis. And one of the examples that was cited was students taking agricultural courses in Kewaskum because we don't have those in West Bend. Another policy, a new one, 342.3, is gifted and talented education. We did not have a specific policy on this in the past, and that is being brought forward. Another one, 342.8, instruction of students with disabilities, Section 504 plans. These are students with disabilities that require accommodation, but not necessarily special education. And this is a new policy separating this out from existing policies on special education. Another one, 4.11 or 411.3, children in foster care. We've not had a policy here, but school districts and local child welfare agencies are required by the state and federal laws to collaborate with each other for students with foster care, and this is a policy on that. And 411.2, education of homeless children and youths. Another special case policy that is being created. And finally, there's all of those policies that I mentioned, other than the first two, are new policies being brought forward to the probably the next board meeting. Finally, there's a fast track recommendation to renumber a current policy 411.2, anti-bullying, to be policy 443.71, because one of those policies that I just mentioned is new one 411.2. So there's a conflict in numbering and also positioning within the structure of the policies. So that's just a change in number on that current policy. And those are the recommendations that will be coming forward from the policy committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Monty. And then the curriculum meeting this evening was canceled. So that brings us to future agenda items, board meeting calendar. Dave Himmelman.
And again, what we have is for the next board meeting, April 23rd, action items will include Head Start again, as Sharon mentioned, the bus monitor, a new middle school course, and some course name changes on the 23rd. The committees there, we're looking at a work session on the governance. I don't know, has that been assigned for sure yet, Deb? Yes, thank you. And then on the April 30th is a board special meeting for the community survey on facilities needs. And again, this is not to review the results. This is to review the survey itself as to what will be going out to the community. Again, we have, as I said before, on May 7th is a closed session for the Mack and Jake executive search firm, and then we'll go back into the regular meetings in May, starting on May 14th.
Thank you. Any other items for follow-up communication before we adjourn? All right, in that case, I'd take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, unanimous. Meeting adjourned. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, thank you.
Pleasure. For sure. Thank you. You never know, you might get recycled. You never.